Hi, SpunOut.ie, I'm Nikki Hayes from RTE 2FM. Well, I'm from Bray in County Wicklow, which is kind of like a suburb of Dublin. We used to like to think so. People would go like, "Where are you from?" Be like, "Bray, County Dublin." So just outside Dublin. So got the whole thing of being near a city and whatever, but still the niceness of growing up beside the beach and stuff like that. And then I'm still in Wicklow now. I've just gone to the other side. I'm over by the lakes in Blessington. See, the benefit is I wasn't Nikki Hayes until I was 15. Nikki Hayes is my stage name, which I managed to keep under wraps for quite some time, up until about 2 years ago. And media started digging around and they found out that actually that's not her name, so it's on Wikipedia. I'm not going to tell you right now, but it's on Wikipedia, okay? But no, I grew up very much wanting to be a showbiz person, wanting to have some sort of celeb in me. My father used to run jazz clubs. He was on RTE doing different things, so I guess it was always a bug that was inside me, but whether I could ever make it a reality or not was always the problem. But then I got a show when I was 15 on a pirate radio station, and finally, bit by bit, very long ladder to climb, but eventually got there. So my upbringing was very normal. You know, I went to school, hung out with my friends, went down the beach, caused trouble, did everything normal teens do, so very much average. I used to love radio. I was always addicted to radio. We didn't have a television when we were growing up, not because we were poor or anything like that, but just the fact that my parents didn't believe we should be sitting in front of a box, and I used to hate it because all my friends and people watching this would be like, "Who?" For my friends to say, "I'm going to watch MacGyver," and they're like, "Who?" And I used to be like, "Oh, I can't watch MacGyver." Everybody else did, but yeah, I don't feel I was anyway taken back from it. I didn't get to see MacGyver or Baywatch or whatever, but we had the radio, and I guess then to eventually get my own gig on radio was just a huge thing. I went in to some guys I knew were doing a show, and I asked them if I could answer their phones for them, and I started from there. Ooh, that was a long process getting from Pirates to where I am now. I was 15 when I got my first show on Pirates, so I spent on Pirates until I was about 18. Then I went from there to East Coast Radio in Wicklow, which is now East Coast FM, which is a local radio station, and then went there to Spin 103.8, which is a bit like iRadio, you know, Beat FM, different places like that, regional stations. So worked there for a couple of years, and then I got headhunted by the then boss of 2FM, John Clark, and he called me and said, "Hey, we want you." So it was really bizarre because to be headhunted in radio is, you know, major thumbs up and you feel pretty cool. So I've been with RTE now just over 8 years. My first show was covering for Aidan Leonard, who was a more senior presenter then, and it was called the Sunday Cruise, which was like a drive time show on a Sunday, and I had a contract to do it for 2 months and no promise of any work after that. So my then boss, Liam Thompson in Spin, actually let me do both, which was very unusual as well, but the reason he did is he used to work here in 2FM, so he kind of knew everybody. So I was really lucky that he let me keep my job 5 days a week in Spin and come here and moonlight at the weekends. So the music was very much anything drive songs, you know. We did updates a day, a road watch, a little bit of entertainment, and then at the end of the 8 weeks, John Clark came back to me and said, "Actually, I'd love you to do what you're doing on Spin, but do it here." So he gave me 2 weekends, 2 weekend shows, and I did an urban show. Oh my God, there's so many great moments. To pick one, I know people say, and it sounds like the lazy way out, but it's not. I guess meeting D12 and Eminem in the Four Seasons Hotel was pretty wow. They're such messers, big kids, and I brought my nephew along with me, and he was only about, I think, God, what was he? He was about 12, 13 then, so this was huge for him. And we sat up with the band, and actually Proof, who unfortunately is now no longer with us, he wrote me lyrics, which are priceless. Nobody else has them. And the whole way down the left-hand side of the page, it spells, like, the first line spells N, the second line I, the third line K, so it spells Nikki Hayes down the left, and they're lyrics to a song he wrote to me. And, you know, spent some great times with them, have some lovely photographs. And Eminem, Marshall is not the hard man, he's actually really a softie. It's the entourage around him. If you can get through them, well, then you get to see the nice guy. But that was pretty surreal, because they were total messes. They were throwing crisps at me while I was trying to interview them and everything. So big kids, that was it. Great crack there. The worst moment would be when my personal life started becoming of interest to the tabloids, and I was having a hard time, and it was after my father died, and, you know, things in my personal life weren't so rosy, and they felt the necessity to write stories about it. And that's when it's hard, because you spend your whole life wanting to be in the public eye, and then when it's something, you know, that you want to keep private, you want to keep it private, but you don't realise that you can't decide what you want to keep public and what you want to keep private. So that was hard and very, very difficult to deal with. But I think I've learned to hold back a little bit more and not tell everybody everything. Whereas before, you could meet me at a bus stop and I'd tell you my life story. Not anymore, I hold it a little bit back. Most embarrassing, God, there's so many, but one would be where I had the microphone up and didn't realise, and I said to one of the guys on standby, could I use I said, oh, I really need to go to the toilet, I'm dying for a pee, and I had loads of phone calls saying that I want toilet roll, so that was really embarrassing. But there was worse ones. I've often been on roadcasters and fallen off my chair or tripped over microphone leads and whatever, you know, there's many. To be honest, my job does, in a lot of ways, I wouldn't be doing this job for 15 years if I didn't, 16 years, old, 16 years, unless I really loved it. But there's little things like, you know, I love taking my dogs out for walks, I love different things. To be honest with you, lately a lot of it would be just the fact that I wake up in the morning, I think, you know, well, hey, it's another day, bonus, let's get out there and enjoy it. So, you know, I think when you kind of embrace that, it's different as well. Larry Gogan. Because he's had an awful lot of things thrown at him. He's been pulled up and down the schedule in RTE. He is still one of the most unassuming people. He has no idea how big a personality he is, and he's still like Larry, the granddad Joe's wish you had, or the dad Joe's wish you had. He's just a huge inspiration. You never heard of my show? I did a Sunday morning music show. It was called SMS, Sunday Morning Show, which was on, it was quite early on a Sunday. Most people were probably sleeping. But it was just a chart show, and then also I was presenting for Setanta Ireland and Men and Motors TV for the rally circuits around Ireland, interviewing people. Actually did a show with Nikki Grist one day, which was pretty savage. You're saying, who's Nikki Grist? He was a navigator for Colin McRae. Next, I don't know, I mean, I'm loving the fact that I'm part-time at the moment, so it's given me an awful lot of time to do things for different charities. I'm patron of 4 charities, Teen Line Ireland, Share Dream Foundation, the Hospice Foundation I do a lot of work with, and the Irish Cancer Society. So I'm getting an awful lot of time to do projects for them, which I never would have done before when I was working 5 days a week. Also, I'm back out in the nightclub circuit a lot more, so I kind of feel like I've gone back 10 years in my life. Not clubbing, I'm actually DJing, but even to be able to get to do that now because I'm part-time, I kind of feel like I'm getting a second lease at life. But eventually I would like to delve back into some more TV. I've been off TV a year now because my schedule was just so hectic, but maybe do a bit more TV and get maybe some more hours back on the radio. But for now I'm pretty happy with what I got.